Alright, how is everybody today? I've never done any type of YouTube recording, creating, anything like that, but I got a good friend, Daniel, with Bearded Viking Woodworks, that said you just got to do it. So here it is. I'm just doing it. My name is Chase Farley. I am 36 years old. I live in Bluefield, West Virginia. I was born here in Bluefield, West Virginia, but resided in Princeton, West Virginia for most of my childhood and adulthood life. I wanted to do a small introduction video because a lot of people that you see on YouTube, whenever you watch their videos, you don't know nothing about them. All you know is that they're just a guy in a wood shop building stuff. You don't know where they come from, what their background is, what type of person they truly are. And I've come to realize I can appreciate a person more for knowing who they are, where they came from, and where they're at now and what they're doing in life. Some of y'all may disagree with me on that, but that's just how I feel about it. So, I was born February 25th here in Bluefield at Bluefield Regional Hospital. I had a mother that was a dry cleaner. She worked in a dry cleaner's from the time she was 19 all the way up till the day she passed. Her and my father ended up purchasing the dry cleaners and owning it. My father was a woodworker and a construction worker, general contractor. He owned his own business. And so that's how everything you see around me, that's how it got instilled in my life. And what got me into woodworking was whenever I was a little kid, he had a wood shop down in behind our house. And I'd go down there and hang out and play with him, or play with wood and stuff like that. But the smell of the wood whenever he was doing woodwork down there, the smell of all the different smells of a wood shop really intrigued me and got me glued into woodworking at a very young age. I've been in and out of it my whole life. So fast forward to out of high school, in that part of my life, I was introduced to alcohol and drugs. And first off, I want to say there's some people on this earth that can drink a few beers, or that can drink on the weekends, or drink every evening after work. And there's a few people that can, when it comes to illegal substances, can do it. And there's people that can't. And I realized after about 15 years of playing around with it that I'm one of them people that can't. I was a drug user, an alcohol drinker, a drug seller, drug dealer, whatever you want to call it. I pulled multiple stints in jail because of it. I've caused great heartache on my family and myself because of it. And I had really ruined my life, and I was at the point to where I thought that my life was just ruined forever. I remember sitting on my mother's bedside and looking her in the eyes and telling her, I've accepted the fact that I'll never find peace and happiness, that this is my life, that I'll be in and out of jail till the day I die, or eventually one day this disease is going to take me out. And when you get to that point, I'm not meaning to get way off topic, but when you get to that point, that's when things get real dangerous, because then you have nothing to lose. So in 2020, the police over in Princeton, Mercer County, West Virginia, they had did a roundup, and I was real big and heavy into dealing drugs. They done a roundup. They finally got me. They kicked in the door. I had a couple different properties. They kicked in the door to every property that I had, and I heard through the grapevine that this was going on, so I wasn't there when they did all that. I go and turn myself in, and I'm facing a bunch of prison time this time. And like I said, I'd been in and out from the day I turned 18 all the way up till now. So, you know, it wasn't no big shocker to anybody that I was going, and it wasn't no big deal for me to go. So I had a cousin that was the program director over a rehab here in Bluefield Recovery Point, West Virginia. And I got a hold of him. I reached out, and I got tired of watching myself get older in them stainless steel mirrors in them jail cells. I got tired of hearing my family grow older through 15-minute telephone calls and seeing them in pictures and letters. And So I made the decision, I got to do something about this. So September 29th, I believe it was, of 2020, I left from a concrete box surrounded by fence and razor wire, and I came over here to Bluefield to that rehab. I think I was in that rehab for 16 months, really learned a lot, was sober for 16 months, longest period of sobriety I'd ever had in my life. And I got to the phase 2 part of the program. I think I was 28, 29 days away from getting my completion letter. And my mother got hit by a truck walking out of Walmart and killed. And at first I thought that I was, what people in my world would call spiritually fit enough to handle that. And come find out that I wasn't. I relapsed, screwed everything up. So I went right back to rehab. Did it again. Long story short, I went through that rehab 4 times. I'd have a month out here, 30 days out there. I think the longest stretch out of the rehab that I had up until this point was 2 months. And my cousin, the one that was the program director, one day, I guess he felt like, I got to do something. I love him, in the world that I live in today. You hear people say, man, I love him to death. Well, in the world that I live in, the people that love me to life. They won't love me to death. That means they're not going to tell me what I want to hear. They're going to tell me what I need to hear. And they're not going to enable me. So he called my probation officer and was like, look, lock his ass up. Send him to jail. He said, I'll get him back out, but he needs to go back to that box to get reminded where he could go back to. So I went back. They made me sit in there to where I'd have some time to think, see what I'd done. I did. I got out, went back to rehab, or went to rehab from the box. And I went through. And during all this time of in and out in rehab, I met a beautiful wife that I'm married to. Wouldn't trade her for nothing in the world. Maybe a state-of-the-art woodworking shop with all the state-of-the-art tools. I hope she don't watch this. But anyway, I finally finished up, got out of the program, and I knew that I couldn't go back to the drugs. And I thought, well, maybe I can drink here and there. So I started drinking, come find out I can't drink neither. Because I'll start out with a beer, then it turns into a shot, and then the shot turns into doubles, and then next thing I know, I'm on a back road for 3 or 4 days with 3 or 4 fifths in the passenger seat with me. Sunshine coming through the windshield, waking me up. And I was in a bar one morning. It was early one morning. My uncle had passed away. Me and him was real close. He owned an electrical company, and I'd worked for him on and off my whole entire life. And he had passed away, and I was having some problems dealing with that. So, I was seeking ease and comfort, so I went to the bar at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm in there doing my thing. Well, I leave, hit a couple different ones, go back. Long story short, I got into it with the owner of the bar. She's a female. And whenever I'm drinking, I'm sure there's some of y'all that can relate to this, but whenever I'm drinking and I get mad, I don't want to argue, I want to hit you, or I want to break stuff. So she was a female. I couldn't put my hands on her, but she had 2 guys there working for her, so they suffered the blunt end of my stupidity. Police got called. They didn't take me to jail. They sent me to my probation officer. And my probation officer, just so y'all know, for the last 3 or 4 months of my drinking, he kept telling me, he's like, you come in here one more time. He's like, I don't care. He said, if someone calls and tells me you flicked a cigarette out on the sidewalk, he said, I'm locking you up. And I'm like, all right. So whenever they take me to my probation officer, I'm thinking, well, this is it. I'm making arrangements for somebody to get my truck, take it home. Don't know how long it's going to be. Supposed to, if I violated, went back to prison, it was supposed to be 7 years flat. No early release, no nothing, straightforward 7 years. And I'm thinking, well, it's done and over. I messed it all the way up. So I'm in there, and keep in mind, I'm 3 sheets to the wind, and I'm cussing him and running my mouth. And I was like, look, let's just hurry this up. so I can get to where I gotta go. And he's like, you're determined that I'm sending you to jail today. I was like, well, that's all you've been preaching to me for the last few months. And he's like, I'm not sending you to jail. He said, I'm sending you back to recovery point. And he told me, you know, you don't get this out of most law enforcement or judicial members. He's like, I see something in you. And he's like, I want to give you the chance to go back over there and change your life. He's like, but this is the last chance. I was like, all right, so I go back to the rehab, fourth time. The whole time in there, like I was a sponge. Every time I was in there, I soaked up everything that I could, and I changed a lot of things in my life. But one thing that I didn't change was me. I didn't love myself. I didn't have no self-worth. I didn't have no inner peace. I wasn't happy. I still had skeletons in my closet, and I still had dirt up underneath my rug that I was worried that people would find. So that's what I worked on. Today I have no skeletons in my closet. I have no dust up underneath the rug. And the most freeing feeling that I have ever felt in my life is whenever I lay down at night, I have no worries. Whenever I wake up in the mornings, I can go look in the mirror and love the man that I look at instead of despising. So I changed a lot with myself. I got out, God willing. I've just broke over a year sobriety in February out of a program. I don't remember how long I was in the program, but when I got out of the program this time, I went to work for the rehab that I was at. I've worked there for right at a year, the whole sobriety period that I've had. It's been more than a year, but I count it as a year because the day they let me walk out of the building is when the test starts. But I just got a promotion to CES worker. I went from getting locked up by probation officers, parole officers, police officers, to now that them are the people that I have to deal with every day, trying to get guys off of the street and into this rehab so they can get the same chance that I've had so many times to change my life. But when I'm not there working and I'm at home, y'all probably heard idle time is the devil's playground. And that's the same thing for me. And before we moved into this house, my last house, a little under a year ago, had a detached garage. I started buying tools. When I got out, the only thing I had was an old beat-up skill saw. And even with just that beat-up skill saw, a hammer, and a box of finishing nails, I would go out to the shop and I'd tinker around and I'd make things. I made the little picnic tables that you see all over YouTube, and I sold 2 of them. I think I sold them for $15 a piece, but that right there sparked something in me and to keep going and motivated me. Well, I've always had a natural hack for building, wiring, plumbing, woodworking, jack of all trades, master of none, if you will. And so I just jumped head first into acquiring tools, lumber, anything. And before I knowed it, I had me a nice table saw. I had a decent miter saw. I went and bought my bandsaw. Facebook Marketplace was my best friend. Still is. My wife hates it, but it still is. But I came across Daniel's page, Bearded Viking Woodworks, one day, and I had seen his thumbnail, or whatever you call it when you get on YouTube and you're scrolling through to see which video you want to watch. I kept seeing him, and I think the first one I seen, the title on it was, "Why aren't more people building these?" And at first I was like, it's everybody building the same thing, trying to promote smalls and this and that and everything else. So I skipped over, his videos for about a month. And it seemed like, every day his videos was just jumping out at me saying, watch me, watch me, watch me. So one day I clicked on one. I watch it. I was stuck on his channel all day long that day, watching every single video, every single short. And I'm like, something, this guy is a regular old man, plain as an old shoe, just like me. Got a plain old workshop, just like me. Don't have the glitz and the glamour, the $30,000 in dust collection, spotless shop, all that stuff. I was like, this is my kind of dude right here. And I've been addicted to his channel ever since. So if you want to sum this whole thing up and everything that I've been talking about, instead of being hooked and addicted to all the junk that I was before in my past life, today I'm addicted to woodworking. I'm addicted to woodworking tools. I'm addicted to my music, and making beautiful things as a hobby and making beautiful things as a side hustle to make money. And I love it. Whenever I make a project and I stand back and I look at the completed project, you know, the beauty of the project is one thing, but the real beauty is being able to look at it and look at your two hands and know that you created that you spun it up in your mind and took a thought that was in your mind and made it a reality, a beautiful reality, and a reality that people want to pay you for. And this is the happiest that I've ever been in my life. Daniel with Bearded Viking, you know, shout out to you, brother. You have no idea the motivation and the inspiration that you have given me to do this and to keep pushing on. All the members on Daniel's channel were like one big family. I've never in my life, anywhere in my life, dealing with humans face to face every day, got the respect that I get from Daniel and the members on his channel. And that is what motivated me to start my YouTube channel and try to start doing something with it. And I'm not no master content creator. There's probably going to be a lot of people that watches this and have a lot of things to say. And guess what? I don't care, because I guarantee you ain't going to say nothing to me that hasn't already been said. And I guarantee you there's way worse things that's been said to me for way many more years. But, yeah, I'm Chase Farley. The name of my little woodworking business is New Beginnings Woodworks. I love woodwork. I love all of y'all. I just want to give y'all a quick look at the shop. It's filthy right now, but here's my little assembly table, whatever. I make a lot of cutting boards, noodle boards, stovetop covers, whatever you want to call them. Gotta have the music. Got to have the music. Sawdust storage. Compressor, marketplace buy. Toolbox, marketplace buy. Dust collection, marketplace. Now the miter saw is the 14-inch, I believe, rigid, and stand. That's not a marketplace buy. I got my wall storage. Just let y'all know, nothing's organized. Like, I got things over here and things to go with them things over on the other side, but I made these little tool holders for my DeWalt tools. Router table, I made this. It's not nothing fancy, but it gets the job done for me, and it isn't a hassle. And I have a port to where I can hook dust collection up to it. Makita tools.